We are seeing a bunch of tyrants. Let's say something. If anybody's rude to me or been mean to me or whatever, I forgive you. Um, Water under the bridge. Um, and I'm sorry for being rude and mean myself. Anyways, let's say we the people have a obligation to our own constitutional rights and law, liberty, and all our pursuit to happiness and all that. Is like, do you think somebody is gonna just open some gate or some make some bridge for us? For us all to just connect to and find the ourselves in the American dream, and basically in a place where none of our rights or our money or anything's being tampered with. We're not dealing with a bunch of tyrannical tyrants, much like what founded our country. Our country was founded by people who were sick of the tyranny and tyrants, um, basically continually putting themselves first and forward before everybody else, living lavishly. So if you're talking about somebody who, like, theoretically would have, could have, if um, it wouldn't have drawn too much suspicion, could have went to Disneyland every other week or whatever. That spells pretty much the Obamas. They've taken as much advantage and tried to do every single thing that probably anybody told them what it was, that how they came up with the all the vacation ideas on their own. But a few asked them not to come back to Martha's Vineyard. Is a place where, as far as I know, a lot of Democrats go there. Maybe a lot of Republicans also. But what I heard was language of it being like a kind of like a nice fancy place for. It sounded like Democrats normally would go there. So, anyways, so the Obamas had to done something pretty awkward and corny there, like touching the Queen of England, kind of awkward. If Martha's Vineyard asked them not to come back, and us as a country, you got to remember, um, we didn't overthrow, we didn't have to overthrow anybody that was tyrannical towards us and our rights and our freedoms and our liberties. When we founded the country, we just fought back and excluded, we were able to exclude the country that was basically being tyrannical over us. And you got to keep in mind that what they do is they keep us all divided. So it'd be like saying, it was the entire English people, but it's just people who are loyal to the crown, basically. And they have a lot of people that are loyal to it. It's, real easy up to this point now to just go ahead and be loyal to some monarchy or some king or something. But um, America was basically um, made up um, to not be run by a dictatorship. They wanted to show, as long as they could, as a strong country, without it being infringed upon, without our rights being infringed upon, to be run and maintained with a certain amount of um, liberty for everybody, and everybody has justice. Not everybody is, to have their justice taken away from them. You know what I mean? So it's not a negative thing, but you know, it's manned and ran like it's a negative thing because you know they want you to worship them as a monarchy or as somebody who's basically ripped us off. I'd really like to know how much money they've spent on their vacations. So um, they're there's a lot of money that those people, um, liberals or whatever they are, the Democrat liberals means liar, cheater, and thief. Now, Democrat liberal does not mean, um, we're going to go here, we're going to fight for these people, and we're going to do what's right. That's not what it means. It means we're maybe go over here and fight for these people, but we're going to, when we fight for these people and conquer these people by doing that for these people as the representatives, we're going to rip these people off, we're going to lie to these people, and we're going to cheat them all. So that's basically what's going on here. And I guess you have to think, how many politicians are there in America? So a lot of them have to um, do the political thing, rub elbows and spend money and whatever, but it's not maintained with wealthy people who can pay for their own exotic meals or whatever they're eating lavishly, So I don't know how else you're going to be able to balance that to get more people who are successful that have money like that can pay for their own trips even. And that doesn't even need the government to really help them do a lot of things. But there's computer technology now, so I can be in different places. Excuse me. At the same time, So I say like that your omnipresency, because you're able to be in different rooms off of a TV screen or whatever at multiple times. I'm just not omnipresent as much as a lot of other people that are more successful at doing these videos or whatever else it is. But I'm driving a thing that is going to be helpful to anybody who watches this, though, basically. And what I'm saying here in this video is I believe that the more that we neglect our own obligations of at least writing something on a sign and putting it on a stick, and actually having a like a picket sign, but it's to protest. Unless we all protest still, and we don't have to go all the way to Washington D.C. to do it. When they did that, when they went to Washington D.C. in 2010, whatever, around, I believe it was around 2009 or 10. It was right after Obama took office. I mean, it was right quick. They should had came up with the plan to remove the guy then at the time, because um, those guys were doing more towards what I believe the Tea Party or whatever, or at least a big group mob of conservative type of people who wanted their who wanted the checks and balances and everything to be budgeted, and these politicians not to live lavishly. They wanted their voice to be heard, so they showed up in Washington. Those people in particular are more closer, in my opinion, to protecting their own law, their own rights, and not actually breaking the law. If you leave a tyrant in power, we're breaking the law by not saying something or doing something, or even rising up as a group of Americans to overthrow somebody in particular, if that's the case, and it's very necessary, and we all see that. So um, that what happens when we break the law against our own constitutional rights by not protecting it our own self, at least saying something. So if you're saying something, you're closer to that, to being not breaking the law. You're leaving it open. We're leaving it open for them to attack our constitutional rights, like these rights, like the First and Second Amendment. They are rights that shall not ever be infringed upon. But yet, here we've got some different laws they made up where if you get a felony conviction or something, you could lose your Second Amendment right for life, as far as the establishment goes, and the way that it um, really is supposed to be, the way the law says it originally, and they want to say like it's outdated or something and it has no meaning, and that's not true at all. They're full of it. It was meant to be a not to ever burn out the way that they constructed it. It could have been made better for the people, maybe, but that's working towards, um, making what we had already a better um, society or, you know, things that we live by or whatever. It has a lot of more like common sense. So like if somebody like come got out of hand and raped somebody and you knew it, you'd probably just hang the person right away. And you wouldn't have all these people in public or public scrutiny and people just saying, "Oh, you can't, that's barbaric. You can't hang somebody for raping somebody. You can't hang somebody for being a child molester. We must put them in a prison and let some other prisoners toy with them. It's like where did we ever start doing that? I mean, that's just really weak. So um, where are we at a point in time where actually we have let it go and let these elitists go so far that are we taken over by some other country already, or are we so weak that we can be taken over? You know, what's our obligation to ensuring the safety of our military? Some of them are going to die, and that's the I guess the name of the game or whatever. But it's our obligation as a society to ensure their safety the best that we can. So whatever they go up against, we don't make them a weaker military. We don't make it a weaker country. But that's been a Democrat priority has been to weaken the military. The military spends so much money, way too much money, and really the reality is the military should have an honest like account where people in different countries pay them to help support and maintain the military because of how much protection they do to keep society from being overtaken or um, and a lot of times being given minimal amount of stuff to work with and they pull it off because they're champs. So um, they're fighting for democracy. So I want to say that we're breaking the law by not overthrowing the bastards. And what I seen, um, basically it's just it looks like very very much like um, criminal demonic type of stuff. I don't know how they're getting away with it unless they have a lot of more deep control than we think about it. Or see, and we don't think about this also is people get caught. Um, they are they thinking like a criminal? Are they um, hiding something because they're choosing a life of being professional about the way that they go about it, so people don't um, aren't able to. Um, is it that the guy's black? What is it? How come Obama's head's not on a platter by now? What's the deal with that? Most tyrannical. president that I've ever known of, that I've ever heard of. He wants absolute control, and he smiles, and he made jokes about the uh, the Justice Scalia dying. um, I think that the justices um, are injustice. They are basically. I can point out so much of them like going after the Constitution and other people's rights and stuff. Um, it is really sad that Justice Scalia had died because wherever he was coming from, he still understood the Constitution and each individual having unfringible rights, unalienable rights that everybody has. Um, so I had something else to say, but it wasn't more important. I forgot what it was. I can't remember, but it wasn't more important than the topic and the subject of what I was just some little point I was gonna make, but it's not more important than me explaining that the our constitutional rights are dwindling away, and they're able to attack them with the Supreme Court or liberal Supreme Court and a liberal White House and a liberal Congress and a liberal Senate, and they'll and they've got people defending them left and right. Anyways, but they can do that by people not standing up and being heard at the least. So I think that's at the least level of what people are not breaking the law. So I consider it like you losing your constitutional rights, sort of like you're breaking the law. So don't break the law. Don't infringe upon my rights. And that's all I'm gonna say. I forgot the tidbit I wanted to add. Let's have it written down. Yeah. Mm, I don't know. I had some for another, like, I guess another video, I guess, because what I've written down here is the guy Obama. Here's another thing. If you want some ammo today to throw at somebody that's a Democrat who wants to try to knock you off and make a room full of people vote for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or something like that, and they're not going to vote for Donald Trump, and we're all not going to vote for the business guy, the guy up there who's not been a politician yet, right? Let's vote for that guy, please, right? Is that what we all want? Are we all on the same wavelength about Trump? So we want the business guy. Just to go at least 4 years to see how that does us, right? Anyways, these guys, these Democrats, if it's not scary enough, but they've left worse than a dictatorship. This is going to be on another video. I'm going to cover over the topic of leaving worse than a dictatorship. How do you how do you wind up leaving killing like Saddam Hussein off and then Gaddafi? They Bush administration was pushing for democracy over there, and they were fighting hard to give it to them, and they were working with us, and they were cooperating. As soon as a Democrat gets in there, no more. The cooperation goes out the door, and the next thing you know, our troops get pulled out. We lose um, billions, I guess, of dollars worth of our military's equipment, and they leave a regime worse than a dictatorship. So Saddam now he ran Iraq as a dictatorship, but you have to keep in mind he was a mega terrorist. If any of these little pawn terrorists that are killing, say even the one who killed over 100 people in France there. If those guys could walk a day in Saddam's shoes, because Saddam would make that look like patty cake. That's how what a bad person on the level Saddam was at. So then they want to accuse Bush of being a Nazi or all this other crap that they're saying about. They said Cheney made money. His company made money off of the war. But I'm just like wondering, like, who do you want in there? Now you guys, because you heard all the bullshit that the Democrat Party's been had said before, and they're still saying the same bullshit political gaff to get you to vote for them. Um, they basically said a bunch of stuff that's just not true, and they leave worse than a dictatorship. Much I don't know who left a dictator there in the first place. If there was a plan for war, they had to strategize for it one way or another, and it was a Bush idea or thing that they wanted to do personally with Saddam. That has something to do with them also being in the government, in the U.S. government. So working uh, ops, secret ops and stuff like that, operations and whatnot. So we're talking about stuff that would just be revealing to some people um, or not. But I mean, you take the pick. Are you gonna vote for um, somebody who left worse than a dictatorship there? And then the icing off, just to make it even worse, just to show us what a staunch idiot, dumb idiot they really are. Here comes all these refugees, you know, from Syria or whatever, or wherever they're all coming from, because the world's on fire basically, and everybody has to leave their home because somebody doesn't promote democracy. A bunch of people wanted to believe hype, about our war. And really, we were in the thing, so we got duped into allowing these puke Democrats to come and talk us out of our war so that we'll look like a bunch of chicken candy asses. And the world knows that we're not. They just know that our people here voting are idiots, are so stupid. You're gonna, it's all only obvious. So we're us leaving those pukes that do that stuff. It's like the 300 movie. Can you compare that? Like Scalia's death in Benghazi and like just like a bunch of stuff. Compare that to the 300 and what they did to the 300. You know, cut resources off from them. Send them out there to where they would just they'd all end up dead. Or something like that. It's ridiculous, is what it is, and it's gonna keep on going until we stop breaking the constitutional law against ourselves.